This story is taken from the book of Habatnak Afsane by Makbul Jhangi. This is not the story of an ordinary cave. It's a place where people went in but never came back to tell the full truth. In the diary of Dr. James Hardcastle, there was a strange truth. At first people thought it was madness, but later it started to feel real and terrifying. A cave where the darkness was not just silent. Something inside it was breathing. Sheep and goats started disappearing. A strange sound echoed at night. And then came the moment when a human and something else faced each other for the first time. A creature whose footprints were found on the ground. And maybe they are still here. Was it just an animal or a hidden secret living deep inside the earth? Today's story will take you into the darkness of Blue John Cave, where every sound feels like your own breath, but you are not alone. This story is taken from the mysterious diary of Dr. James Hardcastle, where he described a cave in which darkness did not feel empty but alive. The terrifying events inside Blue John Cave, the strange noises, and the presence of an unknown creature that shocked everyone, make this story feel unbelievable real. Was there really a beast inside, or was it just a fear and darkness playing trick on the human mind? No one has been able to answer this question till today. If you enjoy mysterious and horror stories, this video is for you. For more stories like this, subscribe to the channel ManEater Chronicles and don't forget to press the bell icon. There was also a letter inside the envelope written to a man named Stan. This was not an ordinary letter. It carried a secret that could send chills down your spine. Dr. James wrote in the letter, "I saw it with my own eyes. That a creature lived inside the dark cave of the Blue John. If I had not seen it myself, I would never have believed it." These words were not from an ordinary man. They belonged to a person who was always known for telling the truth. Dr. James never told this secret to anyone in his life because he was afraid that people would think he was mad. But he also wrote that after his death, this truth should come before the world. Was there really a creature inside that cave, or was it just the illusion of a disturbed mind? The answer to this question will be revealed ahead. April 17. Since I arrived at Elton Farm, I have been feeling a strange sense of relief. This place is about 1400 feet above the sea level, where the air is very fresh and pleasant. In the morning, I do have a slight cough, but overall, my condition is getting better. This farm belongs to two sisters who are very kind and polite. They take great care of my comfort and health, for which I am thankful to them. All around there are limestone hills filled with countless caves. Seeing these caves creates a strange curiosity in my heart. When I enter them with a lamp, it feels as if I am going too deep into the chest of the earth. Everywhere there is deep darkness and complete silence. Sometimes the sound of dripping water breaks that silence, and at that very moment a strange, unknown fear begins to grow inside my heart. April 20. Among all these countless caves, one cave especially caught my attention. This cave was not ordinary. There was something different, something mysterious about it. The local call it Blue John. According to my research, this cave does not seem natural but man-made. It is said that in ancient times Romans used to extract precious stones from here. The arch at the entrance also supports this claim. Thick grass and bushes have grown around its entrance. Today I examined it closely, but I could not estimate its depth. When I throw the light of my lamp inside, the wall reflects a strange bluish glow. This sight is very strange and creates an uneasy feeling in the heart. I feel there is some hidden secret inside this cave, and perhaps that very secret is pulling me toward. April 21. Today I meet a local young man named Armitage. He suddenly got shocked when he saw me near the cave. There were clear signs of fear on his face. He said in a pinked voice, "Doctor, what are you doing here? Don't you feel afraid of this place?" I smiled and replied, "Afraid? Of what exactly?" He immediately pointed toward the cave. Is a huge beast living inside this cave. I laughed after hearing this, but he remained serious. He told me that sheep and goats often disappear in this valley. These incidents mostly happen during dark and stormy nights. Once blood and hair were also found near the cave. This verse was so convincing that I feel silent for a moment. Was it all just imagination, or was there really a beast? April 22. Today was one of the strangest days of my life. I was standing near the entrance of the cave as usual. All around there was silence. I sensed that silence. Suddenly a faint sound came from inside the cave. At first the sound was very soft, like a whisper from far away, but then it slowly started getting louder, and within moments it turns into a terrifying roar. It felt like hundreds of animals were screaming at the same time. Every hair of my body stood up. I stood frozen, as if my feet were stuck to the ground. Then suddenly everything went silent, a silence even more terrifying than before. In the moment I realized this was not an ordinary sound. It was something else, something beyond my understanding. And in that very moment I decided I would uncover the secrets at my cost. April 28. Yesterday was the most terrifying day of my life. I left early in the morning, carrying candles and matches, and quietly headed towards the cave. I did not want anyone to know about this mission of mine. At the entrance of the cave, I stopped for a few moments. Then I gathered my courage and entered. I slowly moved forward until I reached a vast underground hall. From this hall, several tunnels lead in different directions. Suddenly, I heard the sound of dripping water. I followed the sound, and then my feet sank into something soft and wet. I quickly lowered my candle and looked closely. The sides in front of me froze me in place. On the ground there was a huge strange footprint. This was not the footprint of any ordinary animal, but of a creature beyond imagination. And the strange things, there was no stones or rock around it. So then what could have made this mark? The mark was very deep, wide, and strangely torn apart. I was shocked, wondering how something like this could be formed on the ground. If this was the footprint of an animal, how big would it be? What kind of animal in the world could have a foot 1.5 feet wide? And how could an 8-inch long impression appear in a single step? Then another thought came to my mind. If this was one animal, then where was the second footprint? I looked around carefully but found nothing at all. There was only one mark on the ground, as if a one-legged creature had passed by. A cold wave ran through my entire body. I immediately decided to go back. But inside my heart, one question kept screaming. What kind of creature made this mark, and where did it go? On my way, I tried to move quickly, but suddenly the path became unclear. The cave tunnel started to look the same, and I lost my direction. I ended up entering a narrow, downward sloping tunnel. Suddenly my foot slipped and I fell straight into the water. This was an underground stream flowing inside the cave. I struggled in the water, moving forward the edge. With great difficulty, I grabbed a rock and put myself out. My body was completely wet and I was shivering non-stop. Everything around me was pitch dark, as if light did not exist at all. My candle had fallen and gone out of the water. Even my matches were wet now. I had no light left. I stood alone in complete darkness, as if time itself had stopped, and in that moment I realized I was truly trapped. I moved forward in the darkness, feeling the walls with my hand. With even step, I could feel the cold and moisture of the ground. I keep trying to find a way out somehow, but everywhere there was only stone and deep silence. I thought that maybe this was where my life would end. Then I sat down beside a large rock. My heart was beating fast and my mind was sinking into despair. By chance, I had some biscuits in my pocket. I ate them, trying to reduce my hunger. Then I thought I should take some rest. I found a spot between the rock and lay down. Time had lost all meaning. maybe feel asleep. I don't know how long passed, maybe an hour or several hours, but when I opened my eyes, everything was still as terrifying as before. Suddenly, a terrifying sound broke the silence and woke me up. I immediately sat up and tried to listen carefully to my surroundings. A strange echo was spreading inside the cave. It did not sound like a human voice, it sounded like a huge and wild animal. The sound was slowly getting closer. At the same time, heavy footsteps could be heard. The ground seemed to shake, as if something massive was walking. A cold wave of fear ran through my entire body. I hid behind a rock and held my breath. I wanted it not to see me, but my heartbeat was so loud. It felt like it could be heard outside. Then suddenly the sound came very close, and I felt the creature was right in front of me. For a few moments, complete silence fell, as if time had stopped. I was hiding behind a rock, holding my breath. I could feel the presence of that creature all around me. Suddenly a strong and unlatched smell spread in the air. It felt like it was standing very close to me. I tried to open my eyes and see in the darkness, but I failed. Only deep darkness and heavy breathing could be heard. I tried to open my eyes and see in the darkness, but I failed. Only deep darkness and heavy breathing could be heard. I tried to convince myself not to panic. Maybe it was just my mind playing trick on me, but the movement of stones on the ground frightened me again. I slowly started moving backward to find a safer place. Suddenly there was a splash in the water. Then the sound slowly faded away, as if the creature had moved on. For the first time, I realized I was not completely alone. My heartbeat grew faster, and I decided I must escape from here. After some time, I gathered my courage and tried to take out my match again. Luckily, one matchstick was still dry. I struck it, and a small flame lit up. Then tiny light reduced the darkness a little. I quickly lit my candle and looked around. I started searching for the way out again. I moved slowly, touching the walls of direction. Every moment I feel that the creature could return. After crossing many turns and narrow paths, the light started fading again. But I did not lose hope. Finally, I saw a faint light in the distance. I quickly moved toward it, and after a few moments I reached the entrance of the cave. The cold wind touched my face, and I took a deep breath. But one question still remained in my mind. Had the creature really stayed behind? I stepped out of the cave and stood under the open sky. The cold wind touched my face, and I felt as if I had come back to life, but the fear inside my heart was still there. I looked back toward the cave, where the darkness still felt like it was breathing. Suddenly, I saw those same marks on the ground again, but this time there was not one but many. It was clear that the creature was not alone. A cold wave of fear ran through my body again. I decided that this secret must be ended forever. I moved back toward the cave, holding my rifle tightly. From inside, the heavy footstep echoed again, and then the creature stood in front of me once more. This time it looked closer and far more dangerous. I raised my rifle, but my hand was shaking. And in that moment, the story reached a point where man and the unknown stood face to face. Now everything was in the hands of fate, or perhaps the creature of the cave. As soon as I came out of the cave, the creature did not stop. It lifted its nose into the air and sniffed. Then a terrible stench entered my nostrils that almost made me faint. I quickly turned on my lantern and grabbed my rifle. When the bright light hit its face, it let out a terrifying scream that shook the hills. Now I could see it clearly. It had 4 limbs and stood upright on its hind legs. Its body was covered in long, thick black hair. Its front claw had sharp, 1-foot-long nails. Its mouth was extremely horrifying, with large white teeth stick out. Its eyes were large, but it was completely blind. When the lantern light hit it, it covered its face and stepped back. I immediately aimed at this chest and fired, but the bullets had no effect. It roared in anger and charged at me, throwing huge rocks like they were straw. Its stench was unbearable. I fired again, this time hitting its arm. It stopped and then ran back into the cave. Its scream echoed inside the cave for a long time. After some time, voices from Elton Farm could be heard approaching. Around 50 people arrived there, holding lanterns in their hands. Everyone had heard a scream coming from the cave, but no one was willing to go inside. When I decided to describe the horror of the creature, they all stood at me in shock, as if I had gone mad. This is where Dr. James' Hardcastle diary suddenly ends. Later, no solid evidence of the creature was ever found. However, according to some investigation, strange sounds are still heard inside the cave. Local people still avoid the area at night, and so the mystery remains unsolved. Whether the creature was real or just an illusion, and so the terrifying story of the creature of the cave comes to an end. But the question still remains: was it really a creature, or did human fear, darkness, and lone lines turn imagination into reality? This mystery is still buried deep inside Blue John caves, and maybe it will remain theory forever. If you enjoyed this story, then like the video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel ManEater Chronicles for more scary and mysterious stories. And do tell us the comments, would you ever have the courage to enter a cave like this alone?